What is up, guys? I got a book review for you. Our first book review, so maybe this will go in unqualified opinions, though I've read quite a few books. So this one is A History of the World in 100 Weapons by Chris McNabb, and I think that's just a thrilling concept to go and look at historical development by way of weapons. I'm into weapons history, and chances are if you're watching this channel, you've probably got at least a tangential interest in weapons history. So I'll go through a greatly written book. See if I can open it up and show you guys. Great pictures throughout. I think the choice of weapons was near spot on. Definitely the most interesting parts for me were the first couple chapters about ancient warfare, swords, axes, armor, all that sort of stuff. The later half of the book gets into firearms, post-firearm developments, so ships, artillery, all that good stuff. And, there's a lot of people that find that really thrilling. I find the more hand-to-hand combat stuff more interesting. Definitely the most in-depth I've ever gotten into World War II type history. I'm just not there yet in my American history class, so it was a cool insight into the pieces that this author thought made up a big part of that history. United States, German aircraft, tanks, all that stuff. So that was an interesting part. Feels slightly more tedious, reading after. Then the Germans made this aircraft to counter the United States aircraft, and then the United States made this aircraft, and then Britain made this aircraft. I find it a little bit tedious. Some people, that's their favorite part of history, though, is looking at that aircraft. And lately I've been playing aircraft video games with World War II dogfighting, so maybe I shouldn't talk about it. That's not interesting. Goes into modern, looking at nuclear-powered submarines, nuclear-powered aircraft carriers, modern-day fighters, ballistic missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles, all that. Cold War, and then into unmanned aircraft. So I think it touches on a whole bunch of cool bases. Wanted to review this book, first off because I think it's a cool idea. I think if you want to understand weapon systems that are in production today, you look at older weapon systems and you try to understand how development happened, and I think that's just invaluable to weapons enthusiasts to look at where our weapons came from historically. Also going to be referencing this book and some other weapons history type books in a couple of the new videos I'm going to be making. So yeah, definitely a cool book. You can pick them up. Like, I got this one for $13, Barnes & Noble. I think you can get it on the website for like $8. So definitely a cool little read. Quite long, like almost 400 pages. I worked through it in like 2 weeks. Like I said, definitely the most interesting part for me was the hand-to-hand stuff. That's what I'm going to be referencing in my videos mostly. So yeah, I've got some cool concept videos I'll be drawing off this. So yeah, I think it's a cool book. I think if you're interested in any particular part of warfare, it's got a big section on the American Civil War. It's got World War I, World War II, Cold War. A little bit, a couple of weapons in sort of prehistoric type war. And I found the parts about, the, let me say, 10th through 17th century most interesting. And that's the stuff that I want to talk about. And so I will. You guys check this book out. Definitely a great book, something that I think we can all be interested in. If you're a weapons guy, you should look a little bit at weapons history, and you will find ways to be fascinated by it. So yeah, maybe more weapons history and other types of book reviews to come. This one will go on unqualified opinions. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more of the same.